Today in Twitter.
Yeah, today in Twitter. I got a couple things that I want to start with here. A little appetizer. The first one, this is just a personal gripe. Today in Twitter is usually like, what are people talking about? What's picking up a lot of traction? This is a personal gripe of mine, Rob. This will be the Fort Worth Star-Telegram tweet, and I know a lot of people that work over there. It's my home paper. It's a good, solid paper, although very, very hard to cancel. But they posted this, right? It's a tweet, November 30th calendar. When do Cowboys, Stars, Mavs, TCU, local colleges play next? Schedules, times, TV info. So that is a link to a Star-Telegram article where they're going to give you all that information. But guess what? If I'm seeing this tweet, I'm already connected to the internet. I can just look any of that stuff up on my own. Why does that need to be a story on a website? Makes no sense to me.
It's compiled in one place.
I bet a lot of people are clicking it.
But so that's the thing is you think, okay, this is for people who are older, who want like their TV guide feel.
Yes.
Well, then they're not on Twitter. I see this every week, and I think, why? Why even waste the time?
I see what you're saying, but I kind of see what Blake is saying, too. It's all
I
right
can see
there.
the Stars and Mavs schedule and all my local colleges all in one place. It's everything I need to know.
Would you be more apt to click on that or find out what Honey Boo Boo's mom looks like now?
I'm not falling for that.
Give me these 5 foods are killing your gut, and a gross picture over that. My second one, and this is not a show that I've really kept up with, except for the brief period of time where we thought Tom Brady was going to be on it when he left the team a couple years ago. It's The Masked Singer. So The Masked Singer is hosted by Nick Cannon. And like most good game shows, this one I'm pretty sure came from Asia. And it's crazy. Like, the costumes are the most over-the-top, insane costumes you could imagine. They've got Ken Jeong. They've got Robin Thicke. Jenny McCarthy's there.
Boy, Robin Thicke. Haven't heard of him in a while.
Yeah, he had
Since
some
that
stuff.
one song.
Yeah. He got sued over pretty heavily, right? Marvin Gaye?
I don't know.
So a couple years ago, we were laughing about a clip from this show because it's not your A-listers necessarily. And there was a reveal where people guess who you are based on some clues. And at the end of one of the seasons, they revealed and they took like their bird or like locust mask hat thing off, mascot head. And it was Elizabeth Smart.
Kidnapped victim.
The girl who was kidnapped in Utah. And the whole crowd's like, oh, shit, it's Elizabeth Smart, which nobody would ever react that way. Like, oh, she's a notable person. And the thing said, like, motivational speaker. It didn't say, like, kidnapped victim.
Like, would you know who she was by sight?
I mean, I would.
Right.
But the type of people who need to know when local colleges play, those are the type of people who watch The Masked Singer. And I'm guessing just by sight alone, probably not. So, again, our friend TC sent me this clip. And this is the reveal from this from the season premiere of this year's Masked Singer.
World Series champion and legendary pitcher Bronson Arroyo.
Bronson Arroyo?
All right.
Congratulations, Robin. He finally got one right. I get the turkey.
Okay, we don't have to watch the rest of it. But
who knew? My man, such amazing vocals, such an entertainer.
Bronson Arroyo?
King. Congratulations to you, Robin.
I don't think there's really anything else.
Like, would Reds play fans?
Flowers, but we gotta give.
He's a one-time All-Star. Now, I think he has a musical career, right?
Yes.
So that was a bit that we had, right, where Bronson Arroyo was covering songs, and they kept trying to have us book him.
Was that the one you were doing fake songs of him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They kept giving us pitches.
But his career never really took off in any way that mainstream people would know who he was.
No, and also, like, he's fine as a player. He was an All-Star once.
Career 5.30 ERA.
Oh, here he is, World Series champion Bronson Arroyo. Like, who? One other quick one here before we get to the meat. This was
his Wikipedia. He appeared on the 2023 ballot for the Hall of Fame. He received 1 vote.
Yeah.
0.3%, thus dropping off future ballots.
Who voted him?
But 1 person voted for him for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So this one actually did get major traction. This is from r/teachers. Any teachers in the house? This is a post about what it's like to be a teacher in junior high right now. Title, I'm sick of my students joking about rapists. Every day for the past month, I've heard students nonstop joking about P. Diddy, Epstein, and R. Kelly. When a student has to go take a piss, he tells his friend group, 1 minute, bro, I got to pull an R. Kelly. They say, no Diddy. I think like another version of no homo. One student was messing with the computer, spamming the Windows error sound and said, quote, this is how Stephen Hawking was moaning in those kids' ears at Epstein's Island. I've probably heard ain't no party like a Diddy party 1,000 times this month alone, and I'm just tired of it all. So if you think back to like when we were in junior high or when I was, the Clinton Lewinsky scandal that was material for a year. But now the news has so much for you to work with as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old. You have no regard for anything, the severity of it, the magnitude of it.
Yeah, you never have, right?
No.
12-year-olds, yeah.
Of course not. But now it's like,
Everything's hilarious.
hey, all the guys that have been famous for your parents' whole life, yeah, well, they're all pedophiles.
Yeah.
You think that 7th graders are taking that cool?
Yeah, I mean, you'll learn it about Jake Paul one day. Right?
What do you mean? Like with my kids?
Something's going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually. I hate to say that it's somewhat the whole theory behind the hit television show The Boys, but it's that power corrupts, and if you're on top, like there's things going on behind the scenes that you have no idea about, and nothing is as it appears. So yes, the leaders, I'm sure the olds of when you were a kid, like you said, when you were 12, you were laughing about this and that, and thinking your heroes were infallible, and now your heroes are getting swept up and stuff, and whatever. The
Circle
current
of
day,
life.
yeah, everybody does it. It's
So one day the kid who
the way it
has
is.
10 million subscribers who just opens toys will like be
yeah,
added as a member of NAMBLA.
yeah.
All right. Well, our top story today in Twitter. This comes to us from Blake Jones.
I didn't know this was out there until he told me. Is it still out there, or has stuff been deleted?
Neither one seemed to be tweet deleter, so I bet it's still out there.
Okay, this is great.
I guess I probably should have prepped Blake for handling this segment. But what we have here is a real Twitter pissing match between Steve Dennis, formerly of CBS Sports, CBS 11 Sports, and very loudly once co-hosted a talk show with our friend Tim Calishaw on ESPN 1033. We were in the building with him. You'd see him on Cowboy games, on Blue Star Network stuff. Well, he speaks very loudly, like an actual volume, and he's also kind of a loudmouth. I think he would admit as much. Likes to get those takes off.
Yeah, I didn't mind his afternoon program with Tim Calishaw because it was Steve Dennis throws out wild opinion and Tim Calishaw tells him why he's stupid.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining.
You had Gribble producing?
Yeah. Yeah, so this obviously started with the flag planting stuff over the weekend. And
Steve Dennis, very loud Ohio State fan.
Very loud.
Yeah, that should
one
be
of the
known.
only there's not a whole lot of quiet ones.
There's just a tweet about banning flag planting.
From Dennis Dodd,
Yeah.
CBS writer. He said first conference to ban flag planting gets a cookie because it should happen this week. Now, there is no central authority that will do it. The 10 FBS conferences on their own will have to do it. This is ridiculous.
The writer said that?
Yeah.
Okay, you weren't adding your commentary.
So then here comes Bob, who has never seen a Twitter opinion he disagreed with that he wanted to leave alone. He quote tweets it, which he will do, not just reply. How about this? Either win your home game or take your rear end to the room and deal with it. Allowing the other team to spend a moment enjoying a victory isn't the end of civilization as we know it. Either learn how to lose or don't lose. Now, at this point, I should probably say I completely agree with Bob.
Like if the opposing team goes and plants their flag, they won that right.
They won that right, and you know what? You won the right to go out there and try to fight them about it.
Like, where did you stand on T.O. scoring a touchdown and running to the star to?
I thought it was awesome, and also I wasn't mad at George Teague.
I
wasn't mad at T.O.
George Teague ran out and tackled T.O. at midfield.
Yeah.
The second time he did it, and that was a big debate back then. Just as far as don't let him in the end zone, and they won't do that. Well, but that's a classless move to run to and who knows.
Well, I have no class, so I would like to run to the star. I'd like to plant the flag, and I'd also like to take a run at the guys doing it. I don't need.
So you are for all of it.
For all of it.
Okay.
Sometimes
I think it's really funny that this particular weekend it just really blew up.
Yeah.
Like it was going on everywhere. I saw a Clemson thing too, and they were out there doing something on the Clemson logo, like South Carolina fans stormed the field.
It's happened before. Obviously, you had like Baker doing it at Ohio
famously.
State. But this weekend, I almost feel like this is the hyper loop that we live in from communication, because you'll see a college kid break out a celebration on Saturday, and NFL receivers are doing it Sunday. Mm-hmm. And now it's almost as
that
if
headstand one was cool.
Yeah. It's almost as if something happens in the 11 o'clock game, most of the kids playing at 3:30 or definitely by 5, they've already been reminded about flag planting because they're on their phone right up until they go out for kick. So like, oh, geez, why don't we take a run at that? And then it's Arizona State. Almost happened at College Station. But so anyways, Bob gives that
But it's
opinion.
rivalry week.
It is.
And that's what's being taken from us. This could be happening every week.
Well, it wasn't happening every week. They're still going to play the rivalry games for the most part.
And if there's anything more entertaining than these post-game flag planting fights, to me, it's a Bob Twitter fight about the post-game flag planting fights, because Bob is like Followell or Coop, or he's just not going to lose an argument.
No.
Like, even if he lost, he didn't lose it. He's going to keep fighting.
I think so. I have another tweet
it.
here that this is an offshoot of this today in Twitter. He tweeted that, and he's quote tweeting, which he loves doing. I don't get it, folks, but he loves doing it. He quote tweets all of his responses, and he said to somebody kind of like, "Oh, this response sucks." And somebody else said, "When are you making the transition?" Because Bob's reply was about this is kind of like this is a Twitter response that sucks. So I guess he meant the transition to Blue Sky.
Okay.
And Bob said, "I'm already over there, but I would prefer to stay the sheriff of this place too."
Sheriff.
And I'm telling you, this is not a shot. He's a very dear friend of mine. Bob views himself there is a moral imperative that he has to actually be sports Twitter's law enforcement. This is not a joke. He wakes up knowing someone out there is probably wrong. I got to tell him. What happens if no one tells him? What is this? The purge?
Yeah.
We just got no laws out here. I'm going to be the one to do it. So to go back to his point, which I agree with about,
Which is also, it's very Coop.
Oh yeah.
Just because, let's see, I don't tweet very often. The last one I did was like a couple weeks ago, and I marked it as a perfect tweet because Coop was. It was right after. God, what game was it? It was the Cowboy game that night. What was our last night game we did, where they got drove?
Houston.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Okay, the last one we did, because I remember just reading this right after it. Coop, during that, like at the very end of that game, was like, "This is an embarrassment to the PGA Tour. The play clocks," and like he started ripping this. Somebody had an idea of play clocks in golf, and he says, "Time for golf to have one too. Stroke penalties and public fines for all who can't keep up." Like he was really in like, but everybody else is. The sky was falling about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But Coop saw this fight, and he had to get in on it. Anyway.
Perfect. Yeah, no, they've been deputized, and they have to carry out the law. Steve Dennis, he's not going to let this slide. He says to Bob, also quote tweeting, again, birds of a feather, if you want your rival dancing on your school logo and feel like it's theirs over there at Liberty, have at it. Not going to work in the big leagues, Bob.
Okay.
Your tiny college Liberty doesn't understand. It's not like Ohio State. No one dances on the O.
So that's an obvious just cop-out of like, hey, I went to big school, you didn't, so you're not allowed to have an opinion on college football, you know.
So that ended it, right? That's the end.
Yeah, no, not even close to ending it. Let's see the specific one. Do you have it, Blake?
Yep. He says very directly, and it's on your screen.
Okay.
If you'd like, Steve, you are a perfect example of why nobody likes your entire insufferable fan base. Congrats.
That's pretty direct. Pretty to the point right there. Steve Dennis, touchy. Did I plant a flag on your logo? Just go to your room.
So, okay.
Whoa. Okay.
When it gets to this point, so you want to quote tweet your response. That way your audience gets to see their dumb tweet.
Yes.
Okay, that's why you do it. Mm-hmm. But when you switch to replies like this, when you stop quote tweeting, that is when the Twitter fight gets taken outside.
Oh.
You want to take this outside? You want to start replying to each other?
Mano y mano?
Yeah, that's when the real fight begins.
Yeah. So, again, just go to your room. Steve, not really engaging on the merits here. Bob had a good point, right? He made a point. Steve's response, your school sucks at football, and it's small, too. Bob's, your fan base sucks, and you're acting like why they suck. Steve, go to your room. Bob, who is the more talented player in this game, I will stay in your kitchen. Take a hike. Holy shit. You get take a hiked. You can't get up from that. Steve, I will take a hike from my rivalry if you promise to leave big-time college football to the adults.
Ouch.
Oh, yes.
So, again, we're still really trying to play into this I'm a grown-up and you're not thing.
Yeah.
Go to your room. Football to the adults. What was the original one? Not going to work in the big leagues, right? Never mind the fact that Bob is infinitely more successful than Steve Dennis ever has been or will be, but
Liberty is not Ohio State.
Take a hike. Leave it to the adults. Bob, you are in no position to make any demands, Stu. Now, I feel like what he's doing, is he referencing Stu Cedar as like
I don't know.
That one went over my head. Stu Cedar, Michigan guy, I don't know. Or it's not a shut up. I'm confused. You're in no position to make any demands.
Well, STFU would have been
right.
Did he miss an F?
No.
Is there any way Bob does STFU?
Not out here in the public.
That's what I mean. Okay.
Anybody else have any idea?
All right. Well, whatever.
Huh? That was a bad on my part to ask the crowd for input.
Yeah.
So Steve says, I'm in whatever position I want to be in, son.
Ooh.
I'm retired and in the fun business. Didn't you see how much fun we Buckeyes had yesterday? On to the playoff we go, where you will get another chance to hate us because you ain't us. Enjoy. So we had a fun business, which I think just means your radio show got canceled.
He sunned him, though.
He did sun him.
Man.
And again, I like Steve. I feel like that's what you say at the end of every one of these, right?
Yeah.
I like
great.
Steve. I like Steve.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. And obviously Bob had several other replies to people. Of course, he ended this one with a sure you are, buddy. Have a nice night. Have a nice night doesn't really land like sure you are, buddy.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Fun times on Twitter.
And that was Today in Twitter.